Hi, my name is Isabel. So today I'm going to be talking about how storytelling and writing can help you rewrite your future, specifically in talking about how writing down your past can help you heal and rewrite your future. And so I'm a stay-at-home mom. I am also a funeral director. So I really came across this concept of how writing down your past can help you heal from your past and rewrite your future when I was a stay-at-home mom, and then I went back to work, and then I decided to be a stay-at-home mom again, and really recognizing what went wrong the first time I was a stay-at-home mom that made me want to go back to my career so that I could be successful this second time around. And so I'm really going to be talking about that process of how writing has helped me heal and be much happier in motherhood this time around. So I used to think that healing meant never looking back at your past and just showing up for today and moving forward in the future. And the truth is that my past kept coming up. It kept coming up in the way that I mothered, in the way that I talked to myself, in the way that I just felt every day. And it really wasn't until I sat down and started writing down my past and my journey into motherhood that I realized that the past doesn't go away, but the way that we tell it really can help us heal and transform our future. Throughout my life, I had turned to writing to help me process many difficult things: the loss of a friend in high school, those early relationships, just really anything that I found difficult. I always turned to writing, sometimes in song. I don't do that anymore, but in high school, I definitely did. And as I got older, I really stopped writing. I think part of it was just that I was so busy in trying to build my career and going to school and navigating my early relationship with my now husband and now being married. I just really didn't have a lot of time for writing. And so after my son was born, and especially recently, diving back into writing has been very therapeutic, and it's been very helpful for me to heal a lot of things that I wasn't even recognizing still needed some healing. But the first time that I really turned to writing was after my son was born. Those first 2 weeks, I wrote down every single detail of labor and delivery and really his birth story. And so that's a story that I'm going to be sharing in the coming weeks: my 38-hour home birth, labor, and delivery. And that was like the first time that I really turned to writing in motherhood. And I found it very helpful for me to just put down the experience and everything that happened to help me process what I had been through, because it's, those of you that have had a baby, you know, it's just such a huge event, and it's so hard to process, especially because when you're in labor, it's just labor land, right? You don't know. It's hard. So writing the whole story of what had happened was helpful, especially with my husband there telling me what he remembered, and we were both able to sit down and get a pretty good story down of what had happened during those 38 hours. So if you want to hear that story, subscribe below and hit the bell notification so that you will be notified when that comes out. So while you are going through the process of writing, and really why I think it's such a helpful tool for healing, you are forced to recall and remember a lot of the things that happened. And for me, this was a really helpful tool for me to look back and kind of pinpoint certain things that had happened and certain sore spots, I guess, that were there that I needed to dive a little bit deeper into and process a little bit more fully so that I could heal from them. Especially because as a new mother, I didn't have a lot of time to process things. I really went into survival mode of just feed this kid, feed myself, get this kid to sleep, get myself to sleep, make sure we both are clean. You know, all those things. When you have a newborn, it just really consumes you. So I didn't have time to process a lot of things after he was born. And so writing things out really was an opportunity for me to take the time to process things that I hadn't been able to as a new mother, and heal from things, even some things that I didn't realize that I needed to heal from. So these are the four main ways that I found writing helpful in my healing journey so that I could refocus on and rewrite my future. So the first thing that I found helpful with writing was it really helped me give validation to my past self. There were a lot of times as a new mother where I felt unseen, and I remember just pleading with my husband, like, I just want you to see me. And there were times that he wasn't able to give that to me. And so going through and rewriting things that had happened really allowed myself to see myself and to validate that new mom and just recognize the hurt that she was feeling and the things that she was going through, and that was hard, and that it wasn't just hormones, and it wasn't just the fact that I had a new baby and that I was sleep deprived. Like, there were real things that I was experiencing and going through that were very difficult. And so just looking back and seeing her and telling her, like, that's hard, and you are not overreacting, and you have the right to feel this way, was a very healing experience for me. So really just allowing the things that I was experiencing to be real was such a healing experience for me. And then the second thing that writing really did and helped me with was to have an emotional release. So there were often times where I was writing about the things that happened after my son was born, and I would just burst into tears. Shortly after my son was born, I had two friends pass away, and I didn't have time to cry. I didn't have time to process the fact that they were gone because I was in that 24/7 caretaker role. I just didn't have time to think about it. And so going back and writing those things down, giving myself space to feel those emotions and that grief and to let it go was very helpful. So going back and rewriting about that experience just gave me an outlet to let go of all of those pent up emotions that had been pent up for years at that point. When I finally got to writing these stories, it was very helpful, and it was helpful because it stopped eating at me so much, and I was able to really let that grief be here and let myself be a mother here. And I was able to better show up for my son, for myself, for my husband, once I finally found a way to have an outlet for all of those things that I had been feeling. The third thing that writing my past has helped me with is making sense of things as they are now. So as I began just writing my story of revisiting the past and why motherhood was so difficult at first, my writing took me back a little bit further than I had anticipated. It took me back to the beginning of mine and my husband's relationship. So when I first met my husband, we were in very different circumstances than we are now. We both grew up in the Mormon or LDS church, and we met each other while serving a mission for that church. And at the time, a lot of the things that drew me to my husband revolved around my beliefs in the church, and about the afterlife, and just everything that had been ingrained in me from the church growing up was a lot of what originally drew me to my husband. However, since then, our beliefs have changed, and we no longer participate in the Mormon church, and so we have both taken a step back from the church. And this is a story that I will be sharing in a couple of weeks. So if you want to be notified of that story, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so that you get notified when this video comes out. So since many of my beliefs have changed, it was really helpful for me to go back and look at the things that originally drew me to my husband and to make sense of them now in such a different context because of how I look at the world so differently. And to realize that a lot of the things that drew me to him then, I still find attractive in him now. It was a very healing thing, both just for myself, but also for our relationship as a whole. So going back and writing your past can definitely help you make sense of things that maybe don't make so much sense now, depending on what stage of life you're in at this point. So the fourth thing that I found that writing really helped me with was finding meaning. And especially in those losses right after my son was born and losing those two friends, especially friends who I had met in the context of the church and going through that faith transition, it was really helpful to go back and to write about those experiences and really to define where I believe they are now, and I guess just find meaning in that loss in a different way. And I won't get too far into that because this is another story that's going to be in this series. I'm going to write about the loss of both of these friends and just my experiences there. And so, again, if you guys want to be around for those stories, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so that you can be notified when those stories come out. So, as I've really discovered this healing process through writing, I have started this blog and this YouTube channel. And so, as I've really discovered the healing process that writing is for me, I decided to start a blog, and then eventually that became this YouTube channel. And I just hope that sharing these personal stories can help someone out there, and just realizing the benefit that it has in me and helping me to heal from all of the things that I've been through has been enough for me to keep going. But if you're going through your own unraveling at this time, I did make a little guide for rewriting your future. And so if you guys want to check that out, I'll link that in the description below. And if you want to hear more stories, I will link a couple of videos here for you.